There's a quiet miracle unfolding across the globe, and most people don't even notice it. In a world obsessed with youth, vitality is often equated with wrinkle-free skin or gym-honed physiques. But look closer and you'll find a different kind of power, one that doesn't scream for attention but speaks in soft footsteps, steady hands, and minds that haven't dulled with time. You'll find it in a 78-year-old walking home from the market, unaided, in a grandmother who still writes every birthday card by hand without forgetting a single name, or in a widower who learns how to video chat just to stay connected with his grandchildren. These people are not average. They are exceptional, and yet no one awards them medals. We live in an era where people often expect decline to be automatic. By 70, you're told to slow down to expect the aches, the forgetfulness, the dependence. But what if that expectation is not only wrong, it's dangerous? What if believing you're supposed to decline accelerates your decline? There's a growing body of research that suggests this very thing. The fear of aging does more damage than aging itself. And those who defy that script, the rare men and women who retain certain physical and mental capacities well into their later decades, are rewriting what it means to grow old. If you're between the ages of 65 and 80 and can still perform the 8 critical abilities we'll explore in this article, you are not just lucky. You are a statistical outlier, a rare gem whose lifestyle choices and mindset have set you on a path not only to longer life, but to a better one. And if you find yourself struggling in some areas, let this be your wake-up call. Decline is not destiny. You can rebuild. You can recover. You can rewire. This article is not just an inventory of what you can do. It's a mirror. It will show you where you stand and where you can go from here. 8 markers of rare senior health and how to protect them. 1. The ability to get up from the floor without support. It's not flashy. It won't go viral on social media. But your ability to rise from the floor unassisted might be the single most important physical indicator of independence in older age. From a clinical standpoint, this simple action combines multiple systems: neuromuscular coordination, leg and core strength, joint flexibility, balance, and proprioception, your body's sense of position in space. The decline in this ability is a warning sign we see constantly in senior care facilities. One patient, a 72-year-old former teacher, came in after a minor fall, not because she was injured, but because she couldn't get back up. That moment marked the beginning of reduced confidence, less movement, and eventually full-time caregiver support. Yet after 3 months of guided therapy focusing on hip mobility and core stabilization, she regained this fundamental ability, and with it, her independence. According to a long-term study published in the European Journal of Preventive Cardiology, seniors over 50 who can sit down and get up from the floor without using hands or knees have a significantly lower mortality rate. The test doesn't just measure mobility, it reveals how well your entire musculoskeletal and nervous systems are integrated. How to preserve or rebuild this ability. Start by practicing seated floor positions daily, even with support. Use a yoga mat for comfort. Engage in simple weight shifts, core-activating movements, and eventually attempt standing with minimal assistance. Repetition, not speed, is the key. 2. The capacity to walk 15 minutes without pain or stopping. You may not think of a short walk as a health achievement, but if you're over 65 and can maintain a brisk, uninterrupted walk for 15 minutes, you're showcasing cardiovascular health, joint integrity, muscular endurance, and neurological harmony all at once. Walking is in many ways the body's most democratic exercise. No machines, no membership, just motion. Yet for millions of older adults, this basic function becomes a battleground. In my clinical experience, patients who stop walking regularly often begin to experience not just physical decline, but emotional flattening. Their world shrinks. They begin saying no to events, outings, even conversations. One case involved an 80-year-old man who stopped walking after a knee injury. Within 6 months, he reported fatigue, sleep disturbances, memory fog, and emotional withdrawal. What helped him wasn't just rehab. It was a structured walking program that started at just 3 minutes per day and slowly scaled up. Within 8 weeks, his gait improved. So did his mood, and so did his connection with life. A Harvard Health report identified walking speed and endurance as predictive markers for lifespan, with faster walkers living significantly longer. But this is about more than longevity, it's about freedom. When walking becomes easy, life stays wide open. How to preserve or rebuild this ability. Start with short intervals on safe, flat surfaces. Prioritize posture, supportive shoes, and deep diaphragmatic breathing. If pain occurs, don't stop, modify. Seek physical therapy to address misalignment or muscular imbalance. 3. The strength to carry your own groceries. Grocery bags may seem trivial until the day you can no longer lift them. What we often dismiss as a simple chore is in fact a benchmark of strength, coordination, grip, integrity, and nervous system responsiveness. Your hands, arms, shoulders, and trunk must all engage simultaneously to manage that bag of fruit, milk, or canned goods. And it's not just about the muscles. According to data published in The Lancet, grip strength is an even better predictor of mortality than blood pressure or body mass index. Why? Because a strong grip reflects integrated neuromuscular performance. One woman in our outpatient program, age 76, told us she hadn't carried groceries in over a year because she didn't trust her hands. We started her on a basic grip rehabilitation protocol using stress balls, light resistance tubing, and household objects. Within 6 weeks, she reported a 40% increase in grip strength. More importantly, she returned to shopping on her own and standing taller because of it. How to preserve or rebuild this ability? Incorporate grip-focused exercises into your daily routine, such as squeezing towels, lifting light dumbbells, or hanging from a bar, even with feet supported. Focus on posture, core strength, and wrist mobility to support the full movement. 4. The power to sleep through the night without medication. Deep unmedicated sleep is one of the clearest signs that your body's internal systems are still aligned. It indicates balance in hormone production, blood sugar stability, emotional regulation, and nervous system calm. Yet as many as 50% of adults over 65 report sleep disturbances, and the cost is high. Sleep is when the brain clears toxins, the body repairs tissue, and the immune system resets. Seniors who don't reach slow wave and REM sleep regularly show faster rates of memory loss, emotional instability, and physical decline. Worse reliance on sedatives can suppress natural sleep cycles, leaving the body in a state of false rest. One patient, a 70-year-old woman who had used sleeping pills nightly for 4 years, came to us exhausted and foggy. Through a regimen of light therapy, meal timing adjustments, magnesium supplementation, and relaxation training, she was able to sleep naturally again within 3 months. The change in her mood and energy was profound. How to preserve or rebuild this ability? Maintain a strict sleep schedule, avoid screens 1 hour before bed, increase morning sunlight exposure, and incorporate low-intensity exercise during the day. Identify and resolve any underlying causes like blood sugar imbalance or chronic pain. 5. The balance to stand on one leg for 10 seconds. It might seem like a child's game, but your ability to stand on one foot without support is a powerful neurological and muscular benchmark. It reflects how well your body can control itself in motion and stillness. More importantly, it helps prevent the most feared and dangerous incident in older adulthood: falling. Falls are the leading cause of injury-related death among individuals aged 65 and older. According to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, 1 in 4 older adults falls each year. But the first sign isn't always the fall itself. It's often the loss of balance, the hesitation in movement, the subtle wobble that tells us something deeper is beginning to fail. In clinical settings, we often use the one-leg balance test as an early warning. One 79-year-old man came in after tripping on a carpet corner. While he didn't fracture anything, his inability to stand on one leg revealed how much his proprioception and core engagement had declined. Through a series of targeted balance drills, starting with supported stance and progressing to dynamic movements, he not only regained balance, but also restored confidence in daily tasks like dressing, stepping over curbs, and climbing stairs. How to preserve or rebuild this ability? Practice standing on one leg near a wall or chair. Engage your abdominal muscles and avoid locking your knees. Progress to closing your eyes, turning your head, or shifting your weight. Balance isn't just trained, it's reawakened. 6. The clarity to remember names in daily tasks. Memory loss is not an inevitable part of aging. It's a signal, a reflection of how well the brain is being nourished, stimulated, and rested. The ability to remember names, appointments, tasks, and details is a living testimony of cognitive resilience and neurological health. While some decline in processing speed is expected with age, confusion, disorientation, and frequent forgetfulness are not. According to a report by the Alzheimer's Association, nearly 40% of people over age 65 experience some form of memory impairment, but a large percentage of these cases can be improved or prevented with appropriate interventions. In one program, I led an older adult began keeping a daily memory journal, not just a to-do list, but an active engagement of stories, reflections, and facts learned. Combined with puzzle-solving aerobic activity and better sleep, her ability to retain information and engage in lively conversations returned within months. The fear in her eyes was replaced with spark. How to preserve or rebuild this ability? Read new material regularly. Challenge your brain with logic games, math, and language puzzles. Tell stories out loud. Use your memory like a muscle, train it through active recall, not passive observation. And nourish your brain with omega-3s, hydration, and regular movement. 7. The stability of financial independence. Aging gracefully does not only mean avoiding illness, it also means avoiding unnecessary dependence. While intergenerational support is natural and valuable, full financial dependence in older age can lead to stress, conflict, and a loss of self-worth. Seniors who maintain financial autonomy, even in modest ways, tend to make better health decisions, report higher self-esteem, and have lower rates of depression. In my professional experience, clients who feel empowered about their spending, saving, and managing their affairs often experience improved emotional health and decision-making capacity. I recall one woman in her late 70s who managed her finances through a simple budgeting app. Though not wealthy, she paid her bills, planned small vacations, and even donated to causes she believed in. Her financial confidence mirrored her physical independence. She lived on her own, made her own medical decisions, and approached aging with dignity. How to preserve or rebuild this ability? Educate yourself on digital banking, senior-friendly investment platforms, and fraud prevention. Seek help from trusted advisors, not just family. Review your expenses quarterly. Create a small emergency fund. Financial clarity brings emotional peace, and emotional peace supports physical health. 8. The presence of purpose or joyful engagement. This final ability doesn't require muscle or memory, it requires heart. Purpose is often overlooked in senior care, yet it is the engine that drives resilience, healing, and fulfillment. Seniors who rise each day with something to do, someone to love, or something to create are far less likely to experience rapid decline. A longitudinal study published in JAMA Psychiatry found that older adults with a strong sense of purpose had significantly lower rates of all-cause mortality and disability. Purpose buffers, stress protects against depression, and even improves immune response. In practice, I've seen this again and again. One of our clients, a retired civil engineer, began teaching basic math to neighborhood kids after retirement. Another woman, widowed at 81, started a community garden. Their energy levels, social engagement, and sense of identity grew stronger year after year. How to preserve or rebuild this ability? Find one activity that brings meaning: teaching storytelling, drawing, spiritual practice, volunteering, mentoring, or simply nurturing relationships. Your purpose doesn't have to be grand. It only needs to be real. Purpose is what tells the body it is still needed, and the body listens. Conclusion: age is not your limit. Disengagement is. We are often taught that aging is a quiet decline, a slow fading of strength, speed, and memory. But that narrative is false, and it's costing people their health, their joy, and their dignity. The truth is that aging can be a deepening, not a diminishing, a time of clarity, connection, and calm power. If you are between 65 and 80 years old and still capable of the 8 abilities we've just explored, you are not average. You are the exception. You have maintained function across body, mind, and spirit in a way that defies the usual patterns of decline. You have preserved not just years, but quality within those years. But more importantly, if you find yourself struggling in even one of these areas, don't accept it as your fate. See it as a message. Your body and mind are asking for attention, not surrender. Decline is not automatic. It is often a response to disuse, disconnection, or discouragement. And the solution is not always medicine. It is movement. It is meaning. It is mindfulness. Each of the 8 markers we've covered is more than a test. It is a skill that can be rebuilt, sometimes slowly, sometimes surprisingly fast. And as each one improves, it doesn't just restore that individual function, it uplifts the entire system. Because the body is not a collection of parts. It is an orchestra, and with care, it can still play beautifully even in its later movements. So look at your own life. What can you still do? What needs more attention? Where have you accepted decline as inevitable when it might just be reversible? Let this article be your nudge, not just to admire the rare gem that you may already be, but to polish the edges that still hold potential. Because you are not here merely to survive the years. You are here to inhabit them fully, freely, and with pride. If this article has helped you reflect, inspired you to move, or reminded you of your power, we invite you to join our mission. Like this article, share it with someone you care about, and subscribe to the Longevity Secret channel. We create in-depth, expert-backed content to help you not only add years to your life, but life to your years. Let's keep growing, thriving, and aging with strength together.